Michael, you've had a week on the training ground now to assess and have some time on the training pitch. How's the last week gone for you?
Yeah, no, it's been good. Obviously, disappointment from Saturday always takes a day or two to sort of get the cobwebs off and the disappointment to subside a little bit. But I think obviously not having a game midweek has helped us, like you say, to get a good week of training in the boys. And yeah, believe it or not, we're all sort of like looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Having had a few days to assess the game last weekend against Harrogate, how do you look at that game now?
Obviously, first half I was okay with. We were well in the game. We had much better opportunities than they did. Second half was just nowhere near good enough. I think obviously the disruption of losing two of your defenders isn't going to help any game in any situation. But I still think we had enough on the pitch to take something from the game, and yeah, really disappointed with the goals we conceded and how we conceded them. And yeah, it was a tough day, tough evening, and difficult one to get over. But I think once we sort of got face to face on Monday morning and we ironed it out in a meeting, it was back to preparing for this week's game.
Just on those two defenders that came off injured, Sam Stubbs and Tom Anderson, how are they looking, having had a few days? Have you managed to assess those?
Yeah, Tom Anderson looks like he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. So yeah, that's obviously a bit of a disappointment for us. Stubbsy is 50-50, but we're quite confident that he could be okay for tomorrow.
And after the Harrogate game, you said you understandably felt frustrated and you wanted the players to share that frustration too. Having had a week on the training pitch, have you felt that they feel that frustration too and can channel that in a positive way?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Training's been very good. There's been an aggression to it, there's been an edge to it, which has been quite pleasing. Yeah, and I want them to take that into the game tomorrow, because we're going to need to against a very, very decent MK side.
How do you use emotion in terms of going into games? Do you feel like it can be a good thing sometimes to channel emotion in a positive way, but do it in the right way too?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the training's been a little bit spiky this week, and that's nothing more than you'd expect because of the situation that we're in. Yeah, I want them to, take that into the match on Saturday. I think from my point of view, I think it's one of them where we've been quite good from that point of view this year. I know we've had the sending offs of Boyley and Tom. I think the Tom one was very, very harsh from what you've seen in recent games, but I think discipline is a big part of recovering and putting yourself in a winning position. And I think recently, over the last half a dozen games or so, I think our discipline's been pretty good. We just need to have better moments in the final third of the pitch.
On MK Dons, what kind of challenge do you expect from them on Saturday?
Big challenge. Obviously, they're not in a great spell of form themselves in terms of results. I think what you do find is that, in the last 4 or 5 games that we've seen of them, there's always a 15-20 minute spell where they put the opposition under serious pressure, and obviously there's going to be a time and a spell, however long that may be, on Saturday, where they're going to do that to us because they've got quality footballers. You look at the players that they brought into the football club, there are a lot of championship players in that group, so we've got to be able to deal with that, and if we come through that period, then we give ourselves a brilliant opportunity to get some points.
As you say, they were one of the big promotion favourites towards the start of the season, and although maybe it hasn't started that way for them, I'm sure you'll be aware, as you say, that they've got a lot of quality in their squad, and you have to be cautious of that.
Yeah, no, we're cautious of every team we play in a sense, but we're mindful and respectful of obviously the qualities they've got, but at the same time we know that there's certain bits of their game that we think we can exploit, and we'll try and do that tomorrow. And I still think they'll be right up there come the end of the season after 46 games. You just have to make sure that if they go on a run, and when they do go on a run, it's after Saturday, not on Saturday.
how important is it to start the game well too, not just for the result, but for the fans as well, so you keep them on your side throughout the game? How important is it, the first 15-20 minutes of the match?
Yeah, very important. To be fair, I think we've done that in the home games. I really do. I think the crowd have been great, the fans have been good, they've got behind us. You only got to look back to the Salford game 2 weeks ago. I thought the performance was very good. I thought we were the better side, and yeah, like I say, the fans stuck with us all the way through that. I know we conceded midway through the first half against Salford, but it was their first opportunity and the first real attack. If we can sort of nullify those moments in our games, we're going to give ourselves a much better chance of getting the first goal, which we'll keep talking about, and then hopefully going on to win the game.
I'm sure you'll be aware of the home form in the league in terms of still searching for your first win of the league season, but the last 2 home games, do you feel like the performances have been better and you're on your way to getting that first home win of the league season?
I certainly hope so. Obviously the 2 games you're referring to, we just touched on the Salford game there, where, like I say, I thought we were very, very good and value for a minimum of a point, and obviously taking a point against Accrington was a very frustrating afternoon because we completely dominated the game, and probably should have scored 3 or 4 goals, but ultimately when you're not in a great moment and confidence is a little bit low, that's what tends to happen, and the harder we work, hopefully the luckier we'll become.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Thank you.
What was Tom's injury? What is Tom's injury?
Calf.
Okay.
Yeah.
So frustration, isn't it, when you feel you've finally got something settled?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, like I say, you've seen the disruption to the team when Tom and Stubbsy come off. Obviously, that wasn't helpful. So to lose 2 players in the space of 5 or 10 minutes was difficult.
When you say training's been spiky, what do you?
Well, it's exactly how you want it to be and expect it to be when obviously you're in the bottom 2, of the league. It's one of them where there's a frustration that they don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. No one wants to be there, and I'd rather it that way than be, just very, very passive.
It sounds positive, because it's not. It goes without saying it's not easy, is it? To be in the position you're in.
No, it's not. But like I say, as long as you've got players who are prepared to respond and willing to respond, you give yourself half a chance. And certainly from what I've seen this week, we've got a group who I asked them to see and feel if they're as frustrated and disappointed as me, and I've sort of seen the answer to that this week. I just hope they can sort of transfer that into the game tomorrow.
Yeah. How do you stay motivated? Because everyone's looking at you.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I'm all right once I'm in here. Like, it's one of them where obviously after the game on a Saturday you get massively frustrated, and you have the game constantly going over your mind. Could have done that, should have done that, can we do this, can we do that? And then obviously once you sort of come in first thing Monday morning, you're very much looking forward to the next. For me, just coming through the gates just picks me up straight away. And to be fair, I've got like a really good sort of family who keep me sort of on the straight and narrow and not doing anything stupid. But yeah, I love being on the grass. That's always been my motivation, even before going into management. I love coaching. Trying to make players better. That's what motivates me in a way, and I think it's one of them where sometimes I think if you let it beat yourself up too much, you step away from what you actually really want and what your targets are.
Is that come from experience, like you said?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I was a lot more hot-headed as a younger coach. Done various damage to various things in dressing rooms. Broke a couple of hands, broke a couple of feet.
Your hands and feet?
Yeah, my hands and feet. By doing something stupid. But at the end of the day, it only makes me feel better for about 5 seconds, and then the pain kicks in and realise what a stupid thing that was. So I think it's one of them where, yeah, I've found ways of channeling my emotions a little bit better these days, but at the same time making sure that the players are aware that you're not happy.
Yeah, just find that balance between, you know, I suppose not the teacup throw, perhaps the old days, but
yeah.
You know. Yeah.
No, listen, don't you know, I'd be wrong to say I've not thought about it a couple of times, but I've been able to channel that and not actually act it out, but yeah, listen, it is part of the role. There's a lot of things that are very different in the role these days to what they were probably 10, 12 years ago when I started out. Some of it I don't mind, some of it I don't like. I'm not going to get into that, but it is a very different role these days.
Chuck's obviously come on for the first time last week. How close is he to coming?
Yeah, very close. He's had a good week this week, so obviously he had half a week the following week when he first come in. He's had a full week of training this week. So listen, he's in a little bit better position than he was this time last week, and we just need to keep building on him. And if we can get some more minutes into him tomorrow, then you know that's the plan.
I suppose it goes without saying, he could be, if you can get him running, he'd be huge, because in this division it always feels like it's the small margins, and so many games are one goal, you know, here, there.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's a big game player, and I think I mentioned when he first come in, he's as good a player as I've ever seen come off the bench as an impact player. Yeah. One of the best impact players I've ever worked with, if not the best. And yeah, that's something that obviously we're going to look to do if we can.
Thanks, Mark.
Nice one. Cheers, gents.